Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you doing today? How's life in your world? I hope it's great. Life here is wet. It's very wet. It's like rivers are at flood stages, and it's continuing to rain, and it's going to continue to rain tonight, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know how long it's going to rain, but it's going to rain for a very long time, and we are already at flood stage, so it gets worse. Hopefully wherever you are, you're not in crisis. I'm not. Where I live, I'm high enough that if the floods reach me, it's a global crisis. But it could happen, you know? And if you are in the path of the hurricane, I really wish you the best of luck over the next few days. I'd offer you a place to stay, but if you're in the path of the hurricane, you're nowhere near me, so sorry. Man, this is the second recording. In the life of this 628 episodes of this show, I've maybe had to re-record, let's say that, 5 times, maybe 6. Definitely less than 10 times have I had to re-record a show. Never been because of content. I've never re-recorded because I don't like what I said. As evidenced by, there's quite a few episodes that if you dig through the archives, we'll find where I say some things that I shouldn't have said out loud. But lucky for me, I'm not a personality, so nobody gives a damn if I say something offensive, because I'm going to offend the 10 of you that watch these and nobody else. It's not like the media is going to pick it up and run with it when just some random nobody says something offensive. But the chances are, I don't think I've ever really said anything super offensive. I maybe have said some misogynistic things or some racially charged things, but I'm not a racist. I'm not a misogynist. I just, sometimes that stuff comes out in like comedy ways, and perception is always, it's always more difficult to determine how somebody's going to perceive your statements versus how you perceive your statements. So chances are in 628 episodes I've said some offensive things. Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head. But the good news is I wasn't exactly pleased with what I recorded first. I'll tell you a synopsis of it. I had to go to work today. Today's my day off. Not my day off. Today is my work from home day, but I had to go in today because we're hiring a new candidate. And they asked me to come in, and I begrudgingly did it. Because part of our hiring process is new candidates meet everybody in the building, and I freaking hate it. It's the dumbest thing ever because I don't want to meet these people. They're just wasting my time. I had to spend a half an hour in a room talking to somebody who may or may not be a coworker at some point, may or may not be my boss at some point. That's just wasting time. Unless my opinion is going to affect the hiring, why? I don't want to be in there. So I had to go to work today, so tomorrow I'm going to take tomorrow off. The other half of the story was, and I will tell you this a little bit more in detail, I wrote a blog post today about it. Wrote a blog post today about it. I'll post that link in the description box. It's about Pepahana. Obviously, that's kind of been my life for the last few weeks, at least in the evening. And I got this message last night from one of my coworkers who is a systems guy. He's a server-side systems guy. And he's like, hey, check this out. And he sends me a screenshot of one of my projects that he had added stuff to. And he figured out a way to do that. And I was like, that should not happen. And so I didn't panic because it wasn't something that you could exploit without being logged into the software. You'd have to be logged in, and only the people who logged in could see the exploit. He couldn't have used that. I don't think he could have used it to do anything nefarious. Pretty sure he couldn't have escaped what he was trying to do. But essentially, I have a project in my software that I made global. So everybody can see it. Nobody can edit it. And nobody can, theoretically, if I say you can't, if I give you just viewing rights, so I say you can just view this, you shouldn't be able to do anything to that project, including add your own stuff to it. But he figured out a way to add his own stuff to it. Typically, that's not a bad thing. Because the way that my software is set up, when a project loads, it only loads the resources that are yours to look at. So he could not. No, there's no way for him to force to give whatever he created to somebody else. So he couldn't make the new thing and then assign it to somebody else so they could see it. Except on this one particular project, because I made it this global project, what I did was when you sign up for the service, I automatically give you that project and any tasks that are associated with it. So any new account would have seen his addition because it was just programmatically, it just loops through and here you have this. And so he registered a new account to see if he could see it, and he could. And it was like, oh, that's not good. So he figured out this exploit. Essentially, we had lunch, and I said something to him about posts, and he was like, oh, I haven't tried that yet. So he went back home and wrote a couple little scripts to just start slamming info until he could figure out how to break it, and he did. And it was completely my fault, obviously. You know, any software fault is the fault of the programmer, not the software. But essentially what I did was when a page loads, it checks your user's rights and it gives you options based on your rights. So I disabled the editing rights, or not the editing, I disabled the addition rights, so you can't add stuff. But I never check it if you just bypass my disabling, like he did. He wrote a little script to send the data. I never check to see if your level is allowed to do what it's doing when that happens. So I had to fix that. I did it for some things, but not everything, which I don't know why. Like he's tried to use his little hacks to edit stuff before, and he can't. It gives you an access denied error, which is what it should have done. And I don't know why I didn't do that this time. I guess I just figured if somebody figured out a way to do it, it wouldn't hurt anything. Except for in the case of this one project, it could hurt. Nothing could break, I don't think, but it was fun. So the article's in the description. If you like my blog, if you're a developer or just somebody who's generally interested in software, and you find that valuable, you find that information valuable, please share it with anybody that you can think of. Put it on websites or whatever. I'd like to get more feedback coming on the stuff that I'm doing, and I'm trying to be as open as possible about the way that I do things, so that I can learn from you. And that means a lot to me that a lot of you have stepped up to help me learn. Because, you know, as a developer, I don't have a CS degree. I'm just done this just because I like doing it. And I'm self-taught. So I've never had a mentor. I've never had a real code leader I've never had my code reviewed. So it's good to have somebody who knows what they're talking about looking at my stuff and saying, this is the wrong way, do it this way. So read the blog, share the blog, have fun with it. But ultimately, thank you for being here as always. Thank you for leaving a comment. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for subscribing to my channel and being my bestest friends and making me a part of your day and coming back. That all means the world to me. I will see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from Wikipedia. Who is generally considered to be the first king of England? Arguments are made for a few different kings deemed to control enough of the ancient kingdoms of the Anglo-Saxons to be deemed the first king of England. For example, Offa, king of Mercia, and Egbert, king of Wessex, are sometimes described as kings of England by popular writers, but not by all historians. Didn't answer the question.